First time I ever made bread was one of the first kitchen jobs I ever had. It was a chain restaurant. It was one of the first times I'd never even heard of yeast, dried yeast, fresh yeast, anything. I had no understanding of the process or what it kind of, what it took to make bread or anything of the sort. So it was a massive learning experience. I remember it being somewhat intimidating at first, but I remember just getting the crazy amount of sense of accomplishment, the first few times we made it. The first, I think, bread I ever made was pan bread. And I think back then the object was to see how big you could proof it, and make it as big as possible. And it was just something I really, really loved right away, making pizza dough, making focaccia, making all these different, kind of things I've never even heard about, especially not even ever made. So there's something really special, I think, about the first few times you make bread and tasting it and everything. And throughout my whole career, I've made, buns here and there. I've made a few things, but I've never really been in a position where I've ever been the bread guy, where every day I'm going to make bread and maybe even be creative with bread and change recipes and take them a little bit further or try new things. So at Ayden, sometimes when someone leaves, it's a good thing. You end up kind of stepping into a role that you didn't necessarily think you're going to. And I couldn't be happier doing it. It's something I think about as soon as I wake up. I think about my process, how I'm going to do it. And I think there's something really, bread is one of those things that human beings just absolutely gravitate towards. We have for hundreds of years, and maybe that's why I don't get the whole no gluten thing. Just because it's something that's in us that we just love. And there's one of those, when a beautiful loaf of sourdough is just cooled down, and the cooks, everybody, front of the house, back of the house, everyone will gather around and just pick at it and grab it and put a little bit of butter on it, even if you don't need butter. And you just sit there and you eat and you talk about it. You talk about the chew and the crunch and the air pockets and the process. And a good piece of bread will make you think about it for days, and it's one of those things that just keeps replaying in my mind, and I gotta go back and have another piece. I gotta have another piece. And I think that's just something that's ingrained into humans, and there's just something really magical about bread, and it's one of those things that I don't think will ever change.